Okay, we're going to start now. So we're going to continue where we left off with the malware quiz. But first, I just want to show you how to get onto Codecademy. So the page here is the one you want to get to. Okay, so the first thing you do is you type in Codecademy in your web browser, and it will come up with this page. So you can sign up if you don't have an account already, putting an email you have access to and a password you remember, or you can sign up using the options below here. And if you already have an account, you go up here and press login. And then you can enter your details. And once you've done that, it'll bring you to this page, your dashboard. And what you want to do is you'll want to go up here. Just need to wait for it to load. Okay, you'll need to go to the part on the top right, the navigation menu here. Then press catalog. Then you're going to need to press explore all courses. Then you'll need to go over here and press cybersecurity. And once done that, you need to look for the one that says introduction to cybersecurity. So it could be here, but one way to get it is to filter it to free and beginner. And then it should be one of the top ones there. And when you press it, and if it's your first time loading it, it'll ask you to start the course and you can start from there. But if you were already gone through part of the course, you can then just press resume course. And then you'll need to go to syllabus. And then you'll need to do the back part here at the top. And we're still on side of that. And then you need to go to the malware quiz, which is what we're doing today. And then you're able to start the quiz. Okay. We're now going to review what we did last time with the quiz. So does anyone know what type of malware lives off the land and uses legitimate tools of the user operating system to perform malicious activity? Raise your hand if you think it's called a virus. No one thinks it's a virus? Raise your hand if you think it's spyware. Okay? Raise your hand if you think it's fileless malware. Okay? Can you all please lower your hands? Okay, now raise your hand if you think it's a rootkit. Does anyone think it's a rootkit? Okay, so we all agree that it's fileless malware, and that is the correct answer. It's a type of malware that hides in other trustworthy applications, and antivirus software can't really detect it most of the time since it doesn't really just have a file that you can just delete. Please, can you turn off your camera as this meeting is being live streamed? Okay. Fill in the blanks to accurately describe ways to avoid fileless malware. Okay, so in the chat, put any of these options in the order. Like, for example, unused applications and install software updates. So you can read it and then put them in a certain order and the ones that you think I should put. Like, for example, I'm going to just put an example in the chat. Oh, wait. Sorry. That I mean, here. What this is. So, like, you're able to then just read this and then put it in the chat if you, in the correct order that you think it would be. Like, for example, unused applications and install software updates. Anyone else have anything? Okay, so install software update and the unused and delete and disable unused application. So I'm just experiencing some issues. Okay, we're going to have to restart that due to some issues. Okay, so we're going to do like the same type of question, but it's going to be some different options and different answers. Malicious actors have threatened to expose blank unless your client pays them money. You tell your client that this is an example of blank. Sensitive data and ransomware. Anyone else have any other suggestions? Okay, so we're going to go with sensitive data and ransomware. Okay, we're going to go back to hands up. Okay, so a worm is a collection of malicious programs that secretly provides continued privileged access to a system for an unauthorized user. Raise your hand if you think it's this. Okay, so tell me more things it's that. Okay, so does anyone think that a worm is a malicious self-replacing application that attaches itself to other programs and executables without the permission of the user. Okay, 3 people. Was there anyone else? Okay, please can you lower your hands? Does anyone think a worm is code downloaded without the user's authorization, which is then used to steal sensitive data and relay it to an outside party in a way that harms the original user? No one? Okay. Sorry, I accidentally clicked it. But the answer was self-replicating code that copies itself in computer to computer without user intervention. So if you didn't vote for any of the last ones, you were right. Okay. So we're going to go back to using the chat. Okay, so but you can just use the chat for this. So just put the options in sequence in what you think it is. Like if someone thinks it's a suspicious link. Anyone have any idea what the second one is? Again, Dave, do you think that the untrustworthy software is the first or second one? You can unmute yourself for this.
First one.
Okay. Does anyone have any objections or suggestions?
The first
Is the last
one.
Okay. Now back to using the chat. What do you think the last one is?
I think the last one is untrustworthy software.
But how are you meant to click on untrustworthy software without downloading it first? Okay, so we're going to go with this. Now let's check the answer. And it's correct. Okay. A user comes to you because their computer has been accidentally. You learn that the user has recently downloaded antivirus from an online ad. You don't recognize the antivirus software. From this information, what type of malware is this used most likely? Okay, so raise your hand if it's adware. No one thinks it's adware. Okay, one person does. 2. Okay, can you lower your hands, please? Okay, so 3 people thought it was adware. Okay, 4 people. Okay. Raise your hand if you think it's a virus. No one? No one at all? Okay. Raise your hand if you think it's a Trojan horse. 3 people, 4, 5. Okay, please can you lower your hands? Okay. Raise your hand if you think it's fileless malware. Okay, no. So the majority have voted a Trojan horse. And that is right. A Trojan horse tends to be untrustworthy software. Okay, I'm just going to number these to save time. So the first one is 1, second one 2, third one, three, fourth one, fourth. Raise your hand if you think it's the first one. No one? Okay. Raise your hand if you think it's the second one. One person. Can you lower your hand, please? Raise your hand if you think it's the third one. Okay. Raise your hand if you think it's the fourth one. Okay, 5 people have voted for it, so that's the one we're going with. And that's right. It basically just covers all the other thread cuts, I think. Okay, so we're going to look at this one. And I'm pretty sure the majority before was install software updates as the first one. Now, does anyone have any idea what the second one is? You can just type your answer in the chat. Okay, unused apps. That's what we're going with. And that is correct. Okay. Now, which of the following malware is not categorized by its ability to affect data on your device? Raise your hand if you think it's a Trojan horse. Right, just all lower your hands first. Okay, raise your hand if you think it's a Trojan horse. Okay, one person. Can you lower your hand, please? Raise your hand if you think it's a virus. Okay, raise your hand if you think it's a rootkit. One person. Can you lower your hand, please? Raise your hand if you think it's adware. And the majority have voted for adware. 8 people. Well, 9 people at its peak. But 9 people. And adware is correct. It isn't actually going to do anything to your data. It's just gonna make loads of ads pop up. Okay, now there's this. Now we're going to go back to using the chat. So just type in the order you think it is. So just type in your answer for the first one. Okay, so most people think it's spyware. Now, what do you think the second one is? A password, user access. Like temporary access or continued access. Okay, so put continued or temporary if you think that. If you think it's either one. So cont or temp. And most people are putting so continued privilege access. And that would be the right answer. Now we're on the final question. Now, this is the question we had at the start. So see if you can remember this. What type of malware lives off the land and uses legitimate tools for the user's operating system to perform malicious activity? Raise your hand if you think it's called fireless malware. Okay, so 4 people think it's fireless malware. And also some of you in the chat. 5. Okay, raise your hand if you think it's a virus. Actually, wait, lower your hands first. So raise your hand if you think it's a virus. Okay, 1 person. 2. 3. Lower your hands, please. Okay. Raise your hand if you think it's a rootkit. 3 people. 2. Lower your hand. Raise your hand if you think it's spyware. Okay, no one thinks it's spyware. And the answer is fireless malware. I'm actually kind of surprised at how many of you think that. And we're now going to be moving on to phishing. But not like phishing, but cybersecurity phishing. Like phishing email.
Okay, Joshua, we'll do this next week. Thank you so much for that. Yeah.
Okay.